another question that I feel like I had for you guys is, how can we use manifestation and meditation to become our own visionary? Like literally sitting with our breath, which is something I learned recently in therapy, which is an incredible tool. And I've actually applied it this week, and I've been able to envision more of myself, become more of myself in a small way. So how can we use that to become our own visionary?
I think there's in therapy there's a technique called guided imagery,
Mm,
and guided imagery is a form of meditation, but it's guided by usually a therapist. And guided imagery is basically when you use the meditation techniques of you close your eyes and you have an individual talk you through and visualize positive affirmations and thoughts. So an individual would basically close their eyes, and the therapist would visually walk them through maybe a positive experience. Or say, for example, if someone's having an issue leaving the home, which is called agoraphobia, which is a diagnosis. Agoraphobia is the inability of someone, the fear of leaving their home due to outside sources that are going on in the world. And there's several movies that have been made about agoraphobia. So a therapist will sit down with them and say, right now, I envision you walking to the grocery store, and you are going to the store and you're buying food. And this person who's scared to death of going outside is having these thoughts, but it's becoming reality to them. So, and eventually, the next step in guided imagery is they can actually do the thing, right? So they actually physically can go out and go to the store and be amongst people. So again, it kind of goes back to how meditation can really manifest into physical attributes and physically doing something. Athletes use it all the time. They sometimes you see them on the side of the basketball court before the game. You see them with their eyes closed. A lot of the times in interviews, they'll talk about how they're envisioning themselves scoring 30 points. They're envisioning themselves, dunking on someone, or they're envisioning themselves, becoming the MVP. You listen to Kobe Bryant talk all the time, and LeBron. They visualize this in their mind and through meditation, and eventually it manifests themselves. So those are just a few ways where meditating and having a mental thought can come to real life.
yeah, yeah, definitely. There's that saying by Rene Descartes, "I think, therefore I am," right? I'm sure we've all heard that. Try it and let's apply it and see what comes of it. What are some other thoughts on meditation and using that to become your own visionary?
I think meditation, you become level-headed. Like I said, you get that feeling of clarity. And within that time period of, where you're calm and collected, you take the time to plan. You take the time to realize, what am I doing now that's helping me get to where I want to be? And what am I doing now that maybe I should cut out or lessen, You start to put things into a perspective that's less subjective and more objective and realistic, and that's not to be pessimistic, but to be real with yourself, saying, this and this is helping me, this is not, but I realize it now and I'm going to do better.
So we may need to cut some people or some environments out of our life to get to where we want to go, what we see for ourselves. I feel like there's that, like, envision the highest potential you, and what does that look like? If we have to actually take time to think about what that is, the highest potential Malik, the highest potential Diego, Richard, Justin, Christian, like, who is that man, and what does he look like? What does he act like? Who is he? What does he do? Those types of things. One thing I've been trying to practice is trying to actually meet that man in meditation or in my thoughts, trying to introduce myself to him, like saying, you know what, I'm not there yet, but I'm happy to meet you, and just getting acquainted with that man, because that's something that I do see for myself in the future. Someone who inspires someone who, obviously I'm going to go to grad school and do social work, but even more than that, have a family, create a nonprofit, inspire as many people as I can, share my story around the world, talk to all of you as much as I can on these chats. Those are things that I do see manifesting in my life, just through using my vision, closing my eyes, breathing, and becoming that. I love what Christian always tells us, that we're human becomings. We're always human becoming. So there's something that we're always trying to become, or something that we're always trying to do or accomplish. So take a second to clarify that in your mind, to envision it. And there's this TED Talk I was listening to the other day too, or this I forget his name, but the man said, vision is what could be, what should be, and what will be, despite what is. So currently, where we are in our life, we have to have a vision of where we're going to go. What are some of your visions right now for yourselves? I'll start with Richard. What do you envision for yourself currently?
I envision just to be a overall good person. Again, I've spoken about respect many times. Just continue to being that respectful person, the strong-minded person, to be able to mentor other youth, so that they can have a positive lifestyle as they're growing up, to one day, have, a family, a house of my own, and, just having or being in the career that I want to be, like Christian said, despite of the paycheck, just doing what I love. Not to say that I'm not doing that already, but we never, at least again for me, I never stop excelling in what I want to do. There's always something new. For me, I never reach to the top, because for me there is no top, because that's what continues to push me, and that's what I envision every single time, to continue reaching and going up.
Yep. I love that. Matthew McConaughey always said that I'm never going to be the man I want to be 10 years from now. That's the guy I'm trying to chase, but I'm never going to chase him, because once I get there, then I want to be the guy in the next 10 years or the next 5 years. It's that reminded me of that, Richard. Matthew McConaughey. All right. All right, Diego, what about you, boss? What are you envisioning for yourself currently in your life?
I want to be a positive influence on my younger, not siblings, but just younger people in my family. Like Richard said, I think it's extremely important to keep your morals, close to you, and to keep your integrity. And there's a quote that I heard from my teacher where he said, integrity is doing the right thing when no one's looking. And that really stuck with me, because that's absolutely true. So yeah, aside from that, I want to be, financially comfortable. I want to be able to travel the world and do things that maybe other people in my family that are older may have not, been able to, because of the sacrifices that they made for, my generation to have the opportunities that we do now.
Right.
I want to always make sure that I'm making them proud while also living my truth,
Yep. And always making yourself proud first, man, is something I've had to learn, really learn and embed myself into that the past few years, is that I got to put myself first. I got to make myself proud, because once I'm doing that, then everybody else is proud. Not until I do that, then everyone else isn't going to be as proud of me as they should be. So just a reminder there, man. I appreciate your authenticity too, Diego. Thank you. Christian, what about yourself? What are you manifesting? What are you trying to envision for yourself currently?
Yeah, well, there was a saying that if you're ever trying to figure out what you want to do in life, you're probably already doing it. And that kind of goes back again to, if it may be doing something you're not getting paid for. And for me, I was always a helper. I was always some type of counselor. At 19 years old, I remember volunteering to be a counselor at Sly Park, for the elementary school kids who go to a camp for their 6th grade graduation. That was always me, so I was always in the field of helping. But ultimately right now, it's really about being an example. It's about being an example to men of color who have doubt and who may have been raised in areas in experienced traumatic events and experience violence on a day-to-day, like where I came from, in South Sacramento, and may not have the belief to think that they can be anything, but see an example of someone who can make it out of that environment and then become something positive, and not only become something positive, but devote their time back to helping those individuals who are in that same environment, not going off and wanting to take your skills and your talents elsewhere and do something else with it, and bring that back to the community. So that's my continual vision, to really be that example and mentor individuals who are interested in the field of health and human services and mental health and social services, who want to be that a beacon of light and give back as well. Because again, being a man of color in the field of social services and mental health, it's like you're an alien. It's not very often. The majority of the field are women. So I use that term alien a lot. It's just because it's rare,
Right.
and if you get in the field, you'll see that, there's not many, that it's not much representation. So to be that therapist, to provide that cultural competent therapy, and to be able to relate to those individuals that they can't relate to anyone is really my goal. And again, in this field, majority of therapists are non-people of color and individuals. It's hard for them to find someone to relate to. So that's really my goal and my vision.
Mm, mm. We need strong leaders in our community like yourself, Christian. Thank you for sharing that insight. I appreciate it.